Hey everybody, welcome to our crazy RV. We're here hiking the south shore of Clear Lake today, and you can still see in the background there, the ice is still on the lake. But it's actually like 18 degrees or something out today, so it's quite nice. But today we wanted to talk to you about, as we're hiking, about you know, the 10 stupid mistakes that we have done as we've been RVing.
Most of them your fault.
Okay, most of them are my fault.
Number 1, first septic hose hookup. Now I remember this one. You have some on this list that I don't remember all the details, and I don't know the details, all of them, but this one was kind of hilarious.
And this one was right here in this campground. Okay, so when we first originally hooked up our septic hose the very first time, what happened is this. We hooked it on, and I think we had it just like this. And if you look really close, you can see that it is not actually clicked all the way. It was somewhere just like this. And the repercussions of such a misalignment were catastrophic. And
messy.
The hose basically popped off as soon as we opened the valve. Now, to highlight this, not only did the hose pop off, but at the same time you shove that valve back in, the valve broke off in my hand. This is a good idea. Trail ahead is dry.
Hopefully.
Power on.
Oh.
This is a way to keep our feet cool.
Okay, there.
You see it? This is probably 10 feet deep. You can see down there. I only have a little bit of snow in my shoes.
That was a workout in itself, just getting through that snowbank.
Woo!
But this trail looks
That's
okay.
it. Video's over.
Yeah.
See you next Sunday. Okay, we're gonna take a different trail. This one is full of snow drifts, and we don't want to, we're not that adventurous today.
We didn't wear our winter boots. It's not that we're not adventurous.
I think we need hip waders, because
Yeah.
once you go through some of these drifts, it's up to your waist.
If you fell, yeah, if you sunk.
Like that first guy, there's a couple holes where someone definitely went down all the way to the bottom.
Richard thinks he's found the path,
Well,
but this is probably some animal trail.
No, this is a shortcut. See, we're on the path.
Yeah, but which way do you go?
This way.
Okay, let's get back to it. Number 2 is a melting electrical plug. Now this was my fault.
Not entirely.
Well, generally I'm the one doing the cooking, and I had the air on and then I turned the microwave on, and that's usually a no-no. That usually blows the breaker.
In our camper.
Yeah.
Yes, we probably have some electrical issues with that. However, in this case, for whatever reason, I think in our plug, it was an aftermarket plug, and the hot and the neutral, they must have been touching in the plug and warmed up and melted together.
Yeah, because usually it just blows the breaker right away.
I feel like this is a shortcut.
This is a bad shortcut.
This is
Stop, frog! Go! There's frogs everywhere. Ah, there's really snakes.
maybe we should talk about this.
I don't like this. I don't mind frogs actually, but I was surprised to see one. I just don't want to. This is not where I want to be.
This trail is probably the cross-country ski trail.
Can we go home now? Okay, number 3. Switch on the truck.
We can't talk about that yet. We're gonna save that one to the end, because that was the stupidest thing that I've ever done as far as it comes to an RV. And you're just gonna have to watch the end to figure out what that one is.
Okay. Okay, number 4. Dumping out winterized fluid.
Okay, this is also my fault. Up here in Canada, it gets stupid cold, and we have to put antifreeze in our lines during the winter so they don't break. Otherwise, if any water gets trapped in there, then it freezes solid. So what I had done is first you open up your drain valves and you let out all the water, and then you pump in your winterized fluid. I forgot to close the valves, and so I pumped all of my winterizing fluid through the system and straight back out.
Okay, number 5, first time unhooking the camper.
That was also that same time with the first time of dumping.
And here at
And
Clear
here
Lake,
at Clear Lake, yeah. So this is it, guys, and this hasn't really changed that much since we came here the first time, because this site is still horribly unlevel. But when we tried to hook up here, or unhook here, our camper must have been like slightly over that side, so it was very much tilted to the right. And then over here on this side, the truck is actually tilted to the left. So we sort of had this cockeyed situation going on, and that's why we couldn't unhook. But we have since learned from that mistake. Yeah, we ended up leveling out the camper, and then we also leveled out the wheels on the truck. Where were we? Oh, we were on the cross-country ski trail.
Yeah.
Wah.
Whoops.
We're good.
Okay, so you want to just go right to the number 6?
Yeah.
Driving through residential Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Well, we were already late because of other reasons, and our plan of cooking our supper at the campsite. We were hungry, needed supper. Let's just grab McDonald's and keep going. But of course, the only McDonald's I find is, it's on their, I don't know what they call their ring road thing, like they're around their perimeter of the city, but it really was in middle of chaotic city and not easy, but all of a sudden we're there.
Well, our navigation process when we're driving along is we'll scope out a location ahead of time on Google Maps, look in satellite mode, and then we look for large parking lots, semi trucks or RVs, and basically areas that we can park in as we're traveling. And in this situation, we had found such a parking lot.
Yeah, it looked fairly open.
However, once we got there, the whole place was under construction. The big parking lot now had 2 more box stores
in it.
going up. And so we just parked sort of in the middle of it with our camper, and Carma ran in to get food. However, the only way to get out of there was to actually drive through
a residential area.
A big residential area in Saskatoon where I'm sure that an RV has never gone before.
We were cutting through some pretty narrow spaces.
But we made it. No injuries to report.
Stressful. Okay, but this number 7, not having proper tools for a tire change.
Absolutely. If you are new to RVing, you don't have the experience of changing a tire, you should do so ahead of time. Take the time, figure it out, do it in your driveway. I had it all planned out as to how this is going to go down, and once I actually got on the road and we're stuck on the side of the highway with a flat tire, well, it wasn't even flat, it was a low tire.
One thing you did do right though is have that, whatever that mechanism is to tell us that a tire is going flat.
Absolutely.
So that was smart.
I will link it down below. Our tire pressure monitoring thing. It's Easy Tire or something like that. And that saved us a couple times. We've been stuck on the side of the road, but we didn't have any issues because we had the warning ahead of time to actually stop and pull over.
But then you couldn't deal with it on your own.
Then I couldn't do it. Okay, so everything we had didn't work. We had this plug-in tire pumper-upper.
Work with your
compressor. We had the plug-in compressor, and it didn't work because it wasn't long enough, and it wasn't working with the plug-in and everything like that. We didn't have a proper jack to deal with it anyways, because our RV is so high off the ground, and when a tire goes low, it's actually quite the process to take care of that. And our camper doesn't have anything on it to deal with that. So the next day we went to Canadian Tire, bought a portable compressor, and we bought a 2-ton bottle jack, which allows us to easily lift up and change tires now, and that's been a lifesaver.
Okay, number 8, not watching the weather, and because of that our awning almost got ripped off in a storm. So we are camping at Rivers, Manitoba, and we woke up to this crazy like whipping sound, like the wind was just howling and our awning was starting to flap. And I mean, I actually was legitimately scared. Usually I'm not scared of storms, but I was scared. Richard ran out and quickly tried to deal with that to put the awning in, but our awning isn't always very friendly.
No, not at all. Our awning sucks.
So
if you're an awning
sure
company, if you make beautiful awnings, would you like to sponsor us?
Yeah.
Because ours is horrible.
Okay, but what did you do?
I ran outside in whatever I was wearing, and it was raining and hailing and lightning like crazy, and I thought that I was going to get struck by lightning. But I quickly just brought it in, so I was probably a foot away from the camper, but it was no longer like whipping up and down.
Yeah.
And so now we keep a close eye on the weather, specifically the wind speed.
Yeah. Okay, number 9.
Are we on number 9?
What? Yeah, this is number 9.
Oh, wow.
Number 9. Almost lighting our camper on fire when we first bought it with gas burner water. So, take it away.
That's my quick notes. Gas burner water. Our water heater is electric and gas, like most. And the previous owner must not have used the gas ever. Because it turns out there was so much crap inside the water heater that when we turned on the gas for the first time, it lit on fire. And it was spewing like black smoke up the side. We had like scorch marks on the side of the camper, and so we ended up going up there and completely removing all of the garbage out of it. Ta-da!
Probably be windy here.
It's windy here, but welcome to the boardwalk. So we ended up cleaning it out completely, and it works fine now, but that first time it was a little exciting.
Okay, number 10. One time coming back home from camping at a friend's, our truck was giving some trouble, and the only way to get home without like stalling or not being able to start it up again, we had to like hold the brake. So every time we stopped, we didn't put it out, we kept it in gear.
This is I don't know, call it stupidity, call it what, but this is more of a camping experience that most people don't get to have.
This is not a mistake because there was no other option.
On the transmission, it's an electric transmission, and when you get moisture into the switch, it goes into the safety mode, where if you put it into drive, it remains in neutral and you actually can't drive the truck. And so we left our friend's house. It had been wet, and I don't know how it got moisture in there, but it happened. And so we ended up on the side of the road, like a couple miles from their house. We had stopped. I had put it into park to reset something. There was an error that was showing. Turned the truck off, started it again. Could not drive anywhere. And we sat there for, I don't know, half an hour or more.
Yeah.
It was a long time, long enough that we were all happy.
No, well, yeah. We were almost ready, just the kids and I go back to their house because we were only a couple miles from their house. Go back and hang out there while you figure it out. But anyways, we got going and we're just like, let's just drive all the way home. If anyone has to go to the bathroom, we'll pull over and just like not take it out of drive and just hold the brake. And we did that. We even stopped for supper.
We stopped for
gas.
supper and we stopped for fuel at a card lock. And we never turned the truck off and never took it out of drive.
But then when you parked at home, we unloaded, you were able to start it again and drive it to park it for, you know, out of town.
So many of these mistakes that we've made, they happened either before we were recording, or I guess we were recording some, but we weren't recording the mistakes.
No, because we were, yeah.
We were it was too new. We were too focused on the problems and not focused on anything else.
Probably totally embarrassing ourselves.
The biggest thing with these types of problems is that you just have to slow down. Doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. Take your time and you won't make the problem worse. Which brings us to our biggest mistake in my mind to date. And this mistake is the biggest because it is the simplest. Nothing went wrong. It was 100% our fault. And we spent 3 days fixing it. So what happens after your truck gives you a little bit of problems? Well, we figured it out, but had to stop in Yorkton, and this is where we ended up for our campground. So not too bad. Yorkton City Campground, and it's good we found a spot here. It really helped us out, and we'll be headed out to Pike Lake tomorrow, and hopefully the rest of the trip seems smooth, and that looks good.
So here we are on the number 10 highway, going 40 clicks because we cannot shift into third. So we are off to Melville, Saskatchewan, where my dad has suggested a good mechanic of transmissions. So we've spent an unexpected night in Yorkton. Thought that the problem was fixed as soon as we unhooked and seemed to reset itself, but once we got hooked up this morning to get on the road, as soon as we got on the highway pulling, it would not shift to third. So now we are driving down to Melville to get this problem looked at, and we're all happy.
At least we're not in the interstate or something stupid.
Yeah.
Drove all the way to
Back
to Carma's parents, got the truck, the other truck, and hooked up with that one. Meanwhile, our truck went back to Yorkton. So all this, even with the trailer unhooked, we could probably only go about 80 kilometers an hour.
Right.
Which, you know, isn't very cool. So there's definitely something wrong. And that something wrong was that we had switched on the high idle, or I had switched on the high idle, and the only thing that I can think of is that somehow when I thought I was switching on the fuel, I actually switched on the high idle. So one thing about this truck, when we were driving it a while ago, we're not driving it right now, but the issue that happened, and I'm going to show it to you right here, is that we have two, see if you can see that, there's two switches here. So this top one is actually the high idle switch, and the bottom one here is for the auxiliary fuel tank. And so it has a beautiful auxiliary fuel tank on the back, and we can hold a lot more fuel, which is awesome. However, what happened is that I think I accidentally switched the wrong one. So then when you have the high idle on, you're actually not able to drive at top speed, you're not able to pull, and that was the whole problem. I switched the wrong switch, and that's why we ended up spending 2 days driving around the wrong location. And it still bugs me to this day that it's such a stupid mistake.
But it's such a little easy mistake to make, so I don't think you should beat yourself
It's such a great story now.
Yay!
So we definitely want to know, what is your stupid mistakes? RV stupid mistakes. Leave us in the comments below your best and most favorite stories, because we'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. We'd love to have you here, and thanks for hanging out with us on this hike to Clear Lake. We're gonna go down the south shore, but those drifts were pretty awesome.